Sunday at Paul Ricard for Euroformula Open, about to get underway. Race number 2, cars heading round to the grid to get ready to go racing for 16 laps here in France. My name's Chris McCarthy. Thank you very much for tuning in with us. It's going to be a fantastic race for you, I'm sure. Great racing yesterday. We had a new winner for this season and a new winner in the championship as well in Lucas Dunner, who took a very emotional victory yesterday. Nice temperatures to go racing in, 26 degrees for us here in France. And Lucas Dunner, who did win that race yesterday, is going to be starting right up the front today. So all Crypto Tower Racing front row, but for the third time this season, Yiffy Yi is going to be the one who starts from pole position. We were setting record pace around the circuit earlier today. The qualifying session, absolutely fantastic. The drivers really showing their capabilities, and it was just shown how good the drivers we have are on the grid this year, how talented they are. Yiffy Yi, Lucas Dunner and Zane Maloney, they were only split by 0.2 of a second, but the pace, well, if you look at qualifying yesterday, the quickest time was a 1:53.6. Today, it was a 1:53.2, and it was warmer yesterday than it was today. And we have had cars practicing out here since Thursday, so there was a lot of rubber down yesterday for qualifying. But the drivers today, don't know where it came from, but they were just setting record pace all the way through. And Zane Maloney, Lucas Dunner, Yiffy Yi in reverse order. That is how they are going to start on the top 3. Andrea Cessna was 4th place, 0.6 away from pole position, and that's nothing against Andrea Cessna because he's only one of 2 drivers to finish on the podium in every race so far this season. But it just goes to show how quick those first 3 drivers were. A 1:53.2. We were almost expecting them to get a 1:52s, but I think that's just a little bit too much to ask from the cars. But we're getting ready to go for race number 4 of the season. In terms of your championship, Yiffy Yi still comfortably leading that. First, and second for him. Andrea Cessna second, and a third. Leave him in 5th place. Let's bring you through the grid then. Yiffy Yi is going to be the man to start from pole position, the 20-year-old from China. Won the French F4 Championship back in 2016 with 14 wins in 23 races, so knows his way around these circuits very well. No surprise to see him at the head of the field for the Crypto Tower Racing team. Starting alongside him is yesterday's race winner and yesterday's pole sitter, Lucas Dunner, the Austrian, taking his first win, an emotional victory for him, which he did get across in his social media post yesterday. You can't see him because, oh, that gentleman's going to move out the way for us there. So there is Lucas Dummer. That's what he looks like sat in a single-seater car. Very impressive performance from him yesterday. The 18-year-old racing in FIA F3 this year as well, so won't be able to do all the rounds with us, unfortunately. Now, he didn't start the race yesterday, but this one, he's going to start it on the 2nd row, hopefully. Zane Maloney for Carlin, the 16-year-old from Barbados. Had a brilliant season in British F4 last year, took 10 wins and 15 podiums in 30 races. And no surprise to see him already finding his feet here in the Euroformula Open. Next up, we come to one of only 2 drivers to be on the podium in every race this season. Like Yiffy Yi, he's come over from the FIA F3 Championship. Andrea Cessna for Van Amersfoort Racing, second, and 3rd for him this season. So he'll need to move forward 1 place to continue that trend. Needs to find a little bit of time, though, to catch the 3 ahead. Brilliant performances from Andrea Cessna. You might see our cameraman, there he is, running over to get 5th place. And we'll run you through 5th place on the grid now. And this is 5th place, 33, Emmanuel Mardonado, the 20-year-old from Venezuela. Bases himself in London, actually, same as me, so it was good to chat to him yesterday. But he just seems to be getting better and better this season. Emmanuel Mardonado, a great spot for him to be 5th on the grid. Let's see what he can do, looking to beat his best result of the season, which is a 5th. And he needs to move forward 1 to do that. Then we come to 6, Ido Cohen. He's been very quick around here this weekend. Had a brilliant result yesterday. Did Ido Cohen finish 4th, which matches his best result from Hungary. Wouldn't be the best of, wouldn't be the happiest with that qualifying, but let's see what he can do. So yesterday it was Lucas Dunner who led us away from pole position. position. Ido Cohen from row 2, challenging Yifiye going down towards turn number 1. We were missing Zay Maloney from the 3rd row, unfortunately, as they went down towards turn number 1. Ido Cohen went down the inside there of Yifiye. Yifiye holding it round the outside. This was Glenn Van Berlo almost tagging the back of Alexandra Bardignon. The pair lucky to get away with it. That was Ayrton Simmons making a move through turn 11. As behind here, we have the likes of the number 4, Nicholas Cruton, who did very well yesterday. He had to hold off Ayrton Simmons for the whole race to get a personal best, 5th for the season. But out front, Lucas Dunner would win by just under 5 seconds as he came across the line and was 15 seconds ahead of 3rd place. Andrea Cessna showing the pace of that Crypto Tower racing team. I hope they celebrated a little bit better in the evening, but Lucas Dunner climbed out the car. The last couple of years, he's worked incredibly hard for that, and he was your winner. Race number 2 about to get underway. Cars will be set off on the warm-up lap very shortly. Yifiye and Lucas Dunner, all Crypto Tower Racing Team front row. Zay Maloney and Andrea Cessna will look to take the fight to them from the 2nd row of the grid as we charge down towards turn 1. Behind that, Emmanuel Mardonado looking to beat his 5th place from the 1st round. Ido Cohen will look for a repeat of his 4th place yesterday. He's going to start on row 3 with Nicholas Cruton and Ayrton Simmons, row 4. Row 5, Cameron Daz and Rui Andrade both looking for personal best results. Likewise, Shihab Al-Habsi and Glenn Van Berlo, they start just outside the top 10, the DriveX pairing. That is row number 6, and row number 7, rounding out the field, Sebastian Esno looking to try and find the pace he had at the 1st round, and on home soil, Alexandra Bardignon. Well, that is the grid. I now welcome alongside me Elliot Wood. Elliot, talk us a little bit through qualifying and just how impressive that pace was.
Well, we had a track that was slightly more grippier than it was yesterday, and so the lap times were reflecting that. We dipped into the lower 1 minute 53 second lap times, and it was between 3 drivers, Carl and Zay Maloney, and the 2 Crypto Tower Racing Team drivers of Yifiye and Lucas Dunner, who were working together during that session and were yesterday as well. And also it came down to the wind, so I'd say there was a 4th factor in that, because obviously we had 2 very long straight here, and we had a wind going against the drivers on one of those straights, and it was really up to drivers to time it right to know when to get out of a slipstream, because potentially the air was going to slow you down. And that works in Yifiye's favour. Didn't work on Saturday, but it worked this morning. And it was the opposite of Lucas Dunner, where he got it well on Saturday, but it didn't work for him this morning. And Zay Maloney to be 2 tenths behind, and Carlin Carla wasn't 2 tenths behind 2 weeks ago in Hungary. Great improvements from the British team there, especially with Ido Cohen up near the front as well.
Well, they're a team that's hugely successful in the sport all round, so it's kind of no surprise. And Zay Maloney, people might not be familiar with him in some places. If you're a fan of European and World Karting, you definitely would have known him. Obviously, if you follow the token package in the UK, you would know him very well. But he already is showing his capabilities. Here is Zay Maloney. Shihab Al-Habsi is someone who's improving as well. We got him on board with that DriveX cars. We've got 2 on boards out there today, which are great to see him really showing the work the drivers are having to put him in. But going down the rest of the grid, Andrea Cessna 4th. We have Maldonado next, Cohen, Cruton. I spoke to Ayrton Simmons earlier, actually, when I was able to go and have a little chat with him. And he's actually a fan of the track. It's not a track that a lot of people are fans of in terms of driving, but actually really enjoying it. And so it is tough being on his own in that team, but he's getting better and better, and looking forward to just improving throughout the season. And just tell us, how hard would it be being on your own in a team with no one to work with?
In previous years, it wouldn't have been massively difficult, because teams have a historical set of data, and they've got engineers and personnel been working with the same car and on these same circuits for years. But with the new Dallara 320 and with the limited pre-season testing schedule everyone's had because of the coronavirus pandemic, it really means it was a fresh start. And obviously, R Racing only joined Euroformula last year, so they only had 1 year of experience properly with the Dallara F317. So they came in pretty inexperienced on the 320. They only have 1 full-time driver. We've had Matthias Luton here in free practice only on Thursday and Friday. So it's been very hard for Simmons, and obviously he's a rookie to the series as well. He's come from BRDC British Formula 3. and he's new to all these circuits, so it's definitely an uphill task. But like you said about his battle with Nicholas Cruton yesterday, we're already seeing encouraging signs, not only from the drivers but from the teams and from the car itself. The car is exceeding all expectations. With a new car, you usually expect a lot of reliability problems, and we haven't had that despite the limited testing opportunities.
So a good race to look forward to, basically. It's going to be an entertaining one. There is your front row. Yiffy to nearest to us in the 20, and in the 69, that is Lucas Dunner. On row 2, Zay Maloney and Andrea Cessna. Row 3, Emmanuel Maldonado and Ido Cohen. Row 4 is Nicholas Cruton and Ayrton Simmons. Then it's Daz and Andrade, Al Habsi and Van Berlo, Esner and Bardignon, who will have all the home support here as he pulls up into that final grid stop. Green flag waves, lights are coming on. We get ready to go racing at Paul Ricard, and we're off the way. Oh no, we've had a staller on the third row there. I think that's Emmanuel Mardonado, who hasn't got away down towards turn number 1. They're all slotting to the inside. Zay Maloney looking left and right, third in that queue, and he's trying to get down the inside of Lucas Dunner. Can't quite get through. 4th place, we've got a battle there. Ido Cohen's up to 5th with that stall from Emmanuel Maldonado. Shiab Al Hamzi trying to gain a couple of places there, the DriveX driver, as he heads down towards turn number 3. But Zay Maloney looking to the outside. Ido Cohen trying to get 4th place there, away from Esner, not quite able to make it through, and Lucas Dunner having to do loads of defending, and this might see Yiffy running away with this race early doors here.
Yeah, definitely. That was a very exciting start. Shout-out, but absolutely almost lost his front wing there, as we saw on the onboard. He has actually lost pace to the cars in front. A great start to cover off Lucas Dunner by Yiffy there. So we're seeing the Van Amersfoort cars back. Yiffy's already pulled ahead. Zay Maloney's out of the slipstream of Lucas Dunner, coming down on the outside of Minstrel Straight chicane. Is he going to break late, go to the move? He's got the outside line, now becomes the inside line for the next part corner, and he is through into 2nd place. He split up the Crypto Tower drivers, and I think that's Rui Andrade, who's just lost a place to possibly Cameron Dass, who he had passed off the start.
Brilliant driving from Zay Maloney. He's now going to have to go on the defensive. This is Al Habsi behind Rui Andrade. Pulls out of the slipstream there. You can see the 99 just ahead of us as they come through turn number 10 for the first time. Maloney having to defend here. Dunner looking to the outside. Can't quite make it through. Andreas Esner is the car behind this and taking a very wide line there. I think wider than he would have hoped. Lucas Dunner in the background. Ido Cohen is now having to go on the defensive there. That is the number 4 of Nicholas Cruton just behind. So Cruton has swapped Ayrton Simmons here for Ido Cohen today, and that's the person he's going to be battling with. Ayrton Simmons just comes through frame there. Now he's the next car along. This is the battle we were on board with Andrade and Al Habsi coming into the final corner. Al Habsi there. In fact, that's Clint Van Berlo, apologies, in the number 12 now, trying to get through as they make their way down the start-finish straight. So this is Al Habsi right in behind his teammate now, Glenn Van Berlo, who has gone past him as they head down towards turn 1. And Al Habsi's going to look down the inside of his DriveX Racing teammate in towards turn number 1. Al Habsi down the inside, and he's gone back through. So that is Al Habsi back into 10th place. As there you can see at the back of the field, Sebastian Esner still struggling for pace as we go down towards turn number 3 for the second time. And this battle between Al Habsi and Van Berlo is far from over as through turn 3 we go. Oh, and there could be contact, and there's contact. Van Berlo tags there into a spin, and that was Alexandre Bardignon who has tagged him into a spin. The number 12 gets going again. So Bardignon, who we were on board with there, just a move that was never going to work, and that is Van Berlo dropping to the back of the field, unfortunately. As up ahead, Maloney is now going off the Yiffy, and he is closing him down here. This is brilliant stuff from Zay Maloney. He caught him through the first sector, only by a couple of hundreds, but we will wait to see the sector times through sector 2, because it does look like Zay Maloney's closing in, and let's see them as they come through second split. Indeed he is. He's taken 2 tenths out of them, Elliott, through sector 2.
Yeah, great job there. And I think we've got potential technical issues. Sebastian Esner, we saw it in race 1, he had a very bad first lap, dropped way down the order. So replay start, Maldonado stalls, Van Amersfoort cars, lap 2, so everyone does a great job of avoiding it. So everyone did a great job of avoiding Maldonado there, and Maldonado did get away. Maldonado's already back up to 11th place, so he's only lost 6 places in the end, despite stalling on the grid and everyone luckily avoiding him.
Well, there you can see it was a clean start ahead of him as they all went in single file behind the race leader, Yiffy Yi. That was Zay Maloney trying to dive down the inside of Lucas Dunner. He would come back at him at the chicane and eventually make the move, and a brilliant move was round the outside. Let's have a ride on board with Shihab Al-Habsi as he got underway there. Oh, and just about missing that stranded car of Emmanuel Mardonado. He started down in 11th place with Shihab Al-Habsi. We can see Cessna to the left of us who had a cracking start. Now he goes down the outside of Glenn Van Berlo, round the outside. What a start that was from Shihab Al-Habsi. Really impressive from him. He's going to enjoy watching that one back, I think, as we see your two leaders now making their way through turns 3, 4 and 5. Behind this in 3rd place is Lucas Dunner. Then we've got a queue forming for 4th place behind Andrea Cessna, which involves the number 4 we see in frame there, which is Nicholas Cruton. So this is the battle for 4th here, and they're all queuing up, Cohen and Cruton. Let's have a look at a replay. This is the incident which saw Glenn Van Berlo turned round by Alexandra Bardignon, and unfortunately that is a race ruined for Glenn Van Berlo.
Yeah, and Bardignon as well. Bardignon's way off the back. Incident involving cars 12 and 15 is now on investigation. That is Van Berlo and Sebastian Cessna, actually.
That's Cessna.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting confused about, because Team Van Ansel drivers are dropping time even when they're not in incidents in these first few laps.
Well, he got caught. I think Cessna got caught up in it. Oh no, that's why. That's Bardignon spinning.
So Bardignon span later around the lap.
There we go. That's Bardignon running out of talent, so to speak. Didn't look like he was tagged. Maybe he has damage, I'm not too sure, but Bardignon spin for him. We've got the incident between 12 and 15 under investigation, which indeed is Sebastian Cessna. So Sebastian Cessna who turned round Glenn Van Berlo there. As here we can see our battle for 3rd, just making its way through. Absolutely flying. He's got the fastest lap to his name. He set the fastest lap last time. Let's see what he does this time. This is a battle a little bit further back. Here going through shot is the number 33 of Maldonado. And you know what? He's got a chance to make a couple of places here. He's not doing too badly at all. Across the line, though, the gap between the two leaders has extended. Yiffy has extended it over Zane Maloney there just a little bit. So it's gone up by a 10th between Yi and Maloney. 8 tenths though, and this is Zane Maloney. This was the kind of pace, this was why he was frustrated at round 1, because I think he knows he can set this kind of pace to Zane Maloney, but he's behind a much more experienced Yiffy Yi. Yiffy Yi, the 18-year-old, Zane Maloney, just 16 years old in his 2nd year of doing all this. Oh dear, Lucas Dunner goes for a road trip across the painted lines there, gets back on again. Now he's going to have to come off the gas a little bit here and make sure he doesn't gain any time. Behind Andrea Cessna has got problems of his own, because you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all queued up behind him as he comes into the braking zone, into the chicane. They're all there, Cohen, Cruton, Simmons and Daz. Daz is the driver at the back of it. There you can see the number 26 of Ayrton Simmons. This is Shihab Al-Habsi behind Rui Andrade. Andrade just a little bit wide on the exit. That will allow Shihab Al-Habsi to close in if he wouldn't have had already in the tow. The driver from Oman makes his way up to T10. And great to have an on-board here with Shihab Al-Habsi as he now comes down to turn 11 and taking a bit of a tighter line there. It's my preference more than trying to do anything about the driver ahead. So Shihab Al-Habsi. Oh, and that's a track limits, isn't it? You can see all 4 wheels over. You've got to be careful of that, Rui. Just running all 4 wheels over, going into the corner. This is what it's so easy to do around this circuit, because there's nothing to stop you from doing that, is there? The cameras and a steward as they come into the final corner now. And good to ride on board with Shihab Al-Habsi around the final section. You can just see how difficult, from turns 10 to 15, how difficult and how persistent it is going through the corners. They just keep coming at you, and they just don't seem to end. Long corners, all of them as well. Really, really tricky part of the circuit. Now, last time, Zane Maloney did a 154.5, Yiffy Yi did a 154.7, so the gap has come down to 6 tenths. There's Lucas Dunner. He did a personal best last time. He matched his teammate in the lead, but he didn't match the person in second, which is Zane Maloney. Down the back straight, and Andrea Cessna in 4th place, still with those problems behind him. Ido Cohen trying to line up a move here. Ido Cohen trying to get another 4th place in this season. 3rd in the championship is Ido Cohen. Consistency paying off for him, and there he is in the number 6, teammate in second place, and we can see that gap still coming down. Maloney getting quicker through that first sector, and the gap closing down. But this is the immediate battle to watch, and it's the battle for fourth.
Yeah, and I think Maloney got stuck in Yiffie's dirty air there, because going into chicane he was very close, and then coming out he actually lost just over 1/10 of a second, and you kind of can see that visually with these Formula cars as they go down the straight. Still focusing on the battle of third place though between, well, fourth place, Andrea Cessna and Ido Cohen. Cohen's probably not close enough to attempt to move through these final few corners, but if he gets a last corner right, he can get a slipstream down the pit straight that will put him in good position for the first turn of the next lap.
This is your battle for 7th place. This Ayrton Simmons and Cameron Daz. Double R Racing driver comes around the final corner. Cameron Daz starting to find real improvements in his pace now as they make their way down the start-finish straight. Andrea Cessna, this would be the first time he doesn't finish on the podium. You can say 2 seconds worth, 3.7 seconds is not likely he's going to do it unless there is a safety car or unless there is an incident or a huge battle ahead of him towards turn 3. And you can see Ido Cohen still piling the pressure on him, but Andrea Cessna dealing with it very well so far. Just over 10 laps remaining here. We go back on board with Shihab Al-Habsi, only 3/10 behind Ruby Andrade ahead. Two drivers still down on experience, it's fair to say, isn't it, Elliot? So just gaining more experience with every race.
Definitely, and our expectations for this race are different to our expectations of the first race. We were told tyres weren't going to last in the first race, and now from speaking to the drivers after that race, they think grip levels are going to stay consistent throughout, which is going to make overtaking really hard, because essentially the driver in front is going to have the same amount of grip in their tyres as you have. Yiffie's just set the fastest first sector of anyone by almost 1/10 faster than Zane Maloney, but Zane Maloney comes back in the second sector, so it's a bit of to and fro between these two, which we can see on screen right now, and that's how far back Lucas Dunner is. So Lucas Dunner isn't out of contention by any stretch, and we are only 6 laps in at the moment.
Well, if Zane Maloney, if he starts to make some moves, then as you said, Lucas Dunner is there, isn't he? What a great move it was, though. That's Zane Maloney showing us, you know, you can't make your usual move that you would in a race down the inside, because it's just not going to work around here most places. You've got to do something out of the ordinary. Yeah, I know people would say a move around the outside might be quite common, but that was a really good move. We've not seen that done many times at all this weekend. Now this is further back. Is this Glenn Van Berlo again? Oh no! That is Shihab Al-Habsi, and that looks like Maldonado wiping him out, unfortunately. So things going from bad to worse for Maldonado. What a shame. We have an onboard with Shihab Al-Habsi as well. Here we go, down the inside, and lock up, bang. So, yeah, Shihab Al-Habsi, he wouldn't have seen that one coming at all. So here's the onboard, just going about his business as normal, turning into the corner, turning in, and bang, there you go, there's the contact. He even left a little bit of room on the apex there, did Shihab Al-Habsi. And Maldonado, that was where, you know, that was because Maldonado was sticking his nose down the inside. But, yeah, I don't think Maldonado is going to want to talk about this race, because you know, a stall and then an incident, it's just not been one for him to remember at all. But let's go back to the drivers that are in the race still in terms of contention and going along in this one. And we have Lucas Dunner in 3rd place, trying to catch these two down. 4th place though, Andrea Cessna still. Andrea Cessna last time did a personal best. He did 1:55 dead. Now the top 3, as Nicholas Cruton goes through, 2nd of the rookies, 6th so far. Nicholas Cruton, very consistent season, inside the top 10 every race so far. But the top 3 are half a second quicker than the rest of the field out there. So it's a 1:54.5 for Yi, a 4 for Maloney, and a 6 for Dunner. And then the rest of the drivers are doing either 1:55 flats, 1s or 2s, and then down from there. So they are just every lap, Elliot, just setting a consistent pace, which no one else has been able to respond to.
Yeah, that tallies what we saw in qualifying. These 3 had an advantage over the rest. Yeah, Alexandre Bardignon has already been given a 5-second penalty for an earlier incident, although he span off on his own accord after Cessna and Al-Habsi Van Berlo clashed, and obviously we've now got the recent investigation for the Maldonado and Al Habsi crash, and they've dropped way off the back of the order. They're over half a minute behind our leading cars now. Ye's stretched his lead to 1.1 seconds as we get, I think we are past half distance now, aren't we? So we're just about to reach it. So 1.1 second lead for Ye, 3 seconds to Lucas Dunner, 7.8 to Cessna, 9.1 to Edo Cohen. Edo Cohen's still hounding Cessna, but I just don't think he's able to make a move.
Cessna's doing really well now. He's got a 1.3 second gap, hasn't he, between himself and Cohen. So doing very well here. Cessna, the race is starting to come to him, albeit far too late because he's nearly 5 seconds back from the top 3. So unless there is a real drop-off in a tyre, which, as Elliott says, no one is expecting to happen, this tyre falls off a cliff, and it's just not going to happen. What about in terms of this man's race? Ye, his gap over Maloney, 1.1 seconds. Going off experience alone, this should be Ye. He's the 20 years old now, the Chinese driver. He's a champion in F1 round here. And he did that when Zane Maloney was still in karting. But you know, he did Formula Renault Eurocup 2018, finished 3rd in that. And then FIA I3 last year just did not work out for him. As I said yesterday, he still is the free vice champion in a free agent winter series. But this is something Ye wants to do, to just win, come into this, win it, and then try and move on from there.
Yep, he detailed as such in the latest episode of the Formula Scout podcast. If you want to hear more on his ambitions for this year, and that's actually how he got his Renault support in the Asian and Free Winter Series. That gave him the budget to do last season racing, and Al Habsi has got back past Maldonado, who's definitely had a bit of a shock of a race, but he's done a very good job in qualifying over the last 2 days. Motorpark cars haven't looked as quick as they have been last year, and Maldonado's been the lead driver, I think. Car 33, that is Maldonado, 5-second time penalty to be added to his race time for causing a collision.
Yeah, I mean, he's right at the back of the field now, so it's going to make no difference, is it? So there's a good chance he's carrying some damage to that car, but that's just, I think for Maldonado, that's just frustration leading to a mistake, isn't it? You know, after that, he was almost trying too hard to make moves. A lock-up says that really, but he will bounce back, I'm sure, at the next round at Red Bull Ring. Here's Ayrton Simmons in the 26 coming through, and he's about to find his friend again in Nicholas Cruton. So that's about a battle that's about to kick off, and we're going to see exactly what we saw yesterday with Nicholas Cruton defending from Ayrton Simmons. This time Ayrton Simmons will be hoping he's able to find a way through.
Yeah, and neither driver will be happy that they can't make further progress up the order. But at the same time, you're getting solid lap times, lap after lap, not making any errors. You're going to get loads of useful data to apply for the next round. And all in all, you're scoring points, which is points make prizes in the end.
Down the start-finish straight, Ayrton Simmons trying to chase down Nicholas Cruton. Let's have a look at the gap. It's come down, it's less than a second now, it's come down by a 10th. So he's getting closer here. Cruton has his own target to aim for in Cohen, but Cohen was the one pulling away. Ayrton Simmons is the quickest of all 3 of those drivers. As for Andrea Cessna, she's quicker than him as well. So the driver at the back of these 4 is the one quickest, and Lucas Dunner's gone for another road trip. There he goes. Joins the circuit again, second time he's done that. And that's a shame for him, because last lap he did actually close the gap on Maloney. It wasn't by a huge amount at all, but he was going in the right direction. We'll wait for the rest of the field after this pace, consistent pace of half a second a lap quicker that is being set by the top 3. Here we see the number 28 of Cameron Daz, the American. He's fallen away from this pack now. He was once part of these 5, battling away or trying to chase Ayrton Simmons, who we see here, but it's just this now. He's just started to fall away from it, and Ayrton Simmons is the one closing in on Nicholas Cruton. In terms of the last place, the rookie podium, that's held by Sebastian Esner, who has benefited from some of the incidents we've had in this race to get himself up into 10th place, and he is now in chase of Rui Andrade. So we're into the second half, so let's do a complete run through. Yiffy leads by 1.3 seconds over Zane Maloney, who is also your lead rookie. Then further 1.7 seconds back is Lucas Dunner. 5.7 after that, we have Andrea Cessna, who has a bit of a queue behind him, and Ido Cohen, who's now starting to come back at him, bringing the gap down to 7/10. Then it's Cruton, who has Ayrton Simmons in chase. Cameron Daz is all on his own in 8th. Rui Andrade is 9th, but has Sebastian Esner just a second back, who also has Glenn Van Berlo 2.3 seconds behind him. Then it is Bardignon, who's trying to recover from his spin. Shihab Al-Habsi, who was taken out by Maldonado. Glenn Van Berlo likewise, and Sebastian Esner, all of those, all involved in an instance in this race with 6 to go.
And it's just gone past lap 10, and this is the exact point last race where Lucas Dunner said he was expecting the tyres to go off. We've just had personal best laps for 7 drivers. Zane Maloney's just set the fastest first sector of anyone. I think everyone might have just been reading their graphs upside down yesterday. The tyre life wasn't actually going off, it was picking up. They were just reading them upside down, because they're definitely getting quicker. Yeah, Maloney and Dunner normally aren't setting the fastest sectors, but they're putting the lap together as a whole a lot more consistently than the drivers behind them, and that's how they're pulling away so convincingly, with a 10-second gap pretty much to Andrea Cessna in 4th.
Now, Andrea Cessna was once at 1.6, I think it was, down the road from Cohen, but Cohen, his tyres, as you said, he started to realise his tyres have more in them than you would expect, and he's set personal best sectors on this lap, so he's on for a new fastest lap, personal best lap. And Ido Cohen is on for being within half a second of finishing in the top 4 for the 3rd time this season as they head round towards turn 14. So this very impressive stuff from Cohen. Can he find a way past Andrea Cessna? Can he repeat the great overtaking we've seen from his teammate Zane Maloney?
And Zane Maloney crosses line, personal best 1 minute 54.343, so about 0.06 seconds slower than Yiffy Ye's fastest lap of this race. And Ye was actually a tenth slower than Maloney that time round, so it's got closer. Cohen's definitely close to Essen, 0.654 seconds now. He was doing sub 1 minute 55 laps, so he's joined the top 3 in being able to do that. And actually so has Cameron Dass and Nicholas Cruton, so the motorpark cars are picking up the pace now, including Maldonado, who's obviously way at the back and is under investigation, but they're all showing some decent pace.
It's a test session now for Maldonado, isn't it? So nothing wrong with keeping going and doing the best you can. But like you said, motorpark drivers getting quicker. Cruton, Maldonado, Daz on those 3 from that team, to remind you. And Dunner, once again, is going very quick in 3rd place. He's part of it. If he didn't have his 2 excursions, then and that delayed start where he was having to defend and then was overtaken by Maloney, I think he would have been fighting for the lead, and it would have been a 3-way fight for the lead rather than 3 equidistant drivers. Up towards turn 10, this is the number 12. We can see the number 16 of Alexandra Bardignon. Here you can see Ido Cohen, he is in chase here of the number 16, Andrea Cessna. There you go. So this is your battle we are seeing for 4th place. They've got a gap behind them now. You remember 2 laps ago, 3 laps ago, it was once 5 in a row. This is now 2 for 4th place, and then further back 2 potentially for 6th. Cruton holding a 1-second gap over Ayrton Simmons. There goes your leader, there goes 2nd, Zane Maloney. Gap 0.8 of a second. It come down by 0.2 on the last lap, and there was a personal best 3rd sector from Zane Maloney. There was confirmation of the gap coming down. Lucas Dunner 3rd, Andrea Cessna 4th, Cohen 5th, Cruton, Simmons, Daz Andrade, and then Esner as they make their way down the back straight. This is a replay of them coming through. You can see here, Elliot, the tyres They don't look in bad nick to me. They seem just fine. So we are going to see, I'm sure, personal best coming in, and we're seeing quickest sectors. We're seeing quickest through the speed traps. Enido Cohen, Maloney, he's absolutely flying on this lap though. Quickest through the first sector. He's taken another 10th out of Yiffy. So are we going to see a battle for the lead going in to the final couple of laps? We've had a bit of a sparring battle between the pair in terms of gaps. Lucas Dunner sitting there in third place. A couple of mistakes have taken him out of the battle. This is the difference between Lucas Dunner and your top two coming through the first couple of corners. The Austrian going to once again be on the podium. He's taken a few of them over his years as Lucas Dunner as a European Euroformula driver. 3 pole positions round here as well. So 6 podiums for him it was last year. So 7 for him in the last 2 seasons. He's going to turn that into 8, which is not a bad performance at all as they come across the line to go on to the final 3 laps.
That looked like a very clean final sector with Zane Maloney. Problem is he's getting stuck in the wake of Yiffy. We see this in the first sector where Maloney either closes in on Yiffy or Yiffy is further ahead, and then the second sector, because you've got that long straight, either sets you up that you're stuck in the wake through the chicane, or you're getting a lot close to the driver coming out of it because you had an uncompromised entry on the way in.
And when you say getting stuck in the wake,
yeah,
the viewers explain what you mean there.
The dirty air, so you kind of, well, you can't see it really unless there's loads of dust. Basically, the air behind the car in front gets all messy rather than going in straight lines. It's really hard to explain because you can't see it. But when you're driving, you can feel it, and you can feel your car getting slower in a straight line essentially when you're doing it. Especially in corners, you lose grip, and because there's a lot of underfloor downforce as well. It certainly can make the rear ends of these cars loose.
And it's a thing at the very top of single-seater racing that I've been trying to work on furiously over the last few years to make it so it's easier to follow in behind cars. So here's 2 good battles. That's going to be pretty interesting to watch over the last few laps. This is Andrea Cessna versus Ido Cohen. And then behind that we have Nicholas Cruton versus Ayrton Simmons. So they come out of turn 9 and now up towards turn number 10. And Yiffy is fighting back. He's just done a fastest first sector out front. But can Ido Cohen make a move for 4th? Can Ayrton Simmons here make a move for 6th place? They're going to try the best they can. Just over 2 laps remaining now. Leaders close to getting themselves on to the final 2 laps of the race. This is Shihab Al-Habsi we're on board with. Obviously after being taken out earlier, he's all on his own back there. Shihab Al-Habsi. This is what it's like to ride on board, going uphill now into turn 10. Back to the battle for 4th place now. This is Cessna. Number 6 here is Cohen. Across the line go the leaders. Now here come the battle for 4th place as we go up to the start-finish line. The gap between Maloney and Yi went up last time by 0.3 of a second. So is that Yi now, Elliot, just turning it on when he has to?
I think it might be, yeah. It's the faster you go.
Oh dear, sorry, this Sebastian Cessna, isn't it?
Does look like that's the onboard we do have.
Round, he's gone.
Final corner.
Yeah, that's the final corner, isn't it? We'll see someone drop down the field, but this is a little battle between Glenn Van Berlo here, and it's due to be Sebastian Cessna ahead of him as they come across the line. Now downhill they go, so it was probably Bardignon, wasn't it? No, it was that outboard. His width, that spun. This is Van Berlo versus Sebastian Cessna now coming in towards turn number 5. There they go. And Bardignon it was, of course, because he's what we saw in that incident at the very start of the races. Now they go through turn 7. What about the gap between the 2 leaders? Is it going up? Is it going down? It looks like it's staying the same. In the background, we can still see this battle going on here between Cessna and Van Berlo. Is Van Berlo going to be able to look to the inside? He's going to leave it right to the last minute, and the Dutchman dives to the inside, and a good move there. Can he get it stopped in time? Yes, he can. And there goes Glenn Van Berlo into 10th place with just a lap and a half to go. Brilliant driving. So this is on board with Bardignon, takes too much curb and that spins him round. So just a case of clipping that curb a little bit too much for Alexandre Bardignon. Let's see him go around, and it's not been the home race he would have been hoping for. But this is Van Berlo still fighting away. He's now having to defend from Sebastian Cessna. Glenn Van Van Berlo, who's had troubles of his own today. He is now doing a good job to get himself back into 10th place and into the points-paying positions as we go on to the final lap of the race. Here's your race leader. We pick him up now. It is Yiffy Yi, leads by 1.1 seconds, and what a performance it's been by him.
Yeah, and that's around a 32-metre advantage. I'm doing some quick calculations.
Oh, wow.
Because you were asking me a question about if Ye turned up the wick, and essentially the faster you're going, the bigger a gap is going to be. So even if it's a 1 second gap, if you're travelling at 100 kilometres per hour, that's going to be equivalent to basically 28 metres, or if you're travelling at 50 kilometres an hour, that's going to be 14 metres. So faster they're going, the bigger that gap is, and their pace is still improving very slightly. So yeah, he's basically got this race in control, especially as the final lap now. I can't really see Maloney getting past now unless Ye locks a brake, but you know, he's a very composed character, so I doubt he's going to feel under pressure with Maloney that far back.
Not only that, he's a very experienced character, and he's a very successful character as well. He does like this place. He wins in France quite a lot, and he's going to continue that here this afternoon. And this is exactly what he would have wanted. Yesterday, he lost that winning streak. He was only one round, he won both races, but he would have been looking for a hat-trick of victories coming into this round. But Lucas Dunner turned up and kind of stole the show with his fantastic lights to flag win. This is another person that's been hugely impressive, Zane Maloney, to keep with these two and go and finish in second place. But the show has all been about the Chinese driver, Yiffy Yi. He comes into the final corner now, and it's going to be 3 wins in 4 races for the Crypto Tower racing driver as he comes out the final corner, and he bounces back with a win today. Brilliant performance from Yiffy Yi to take his 3rd win of the season and second place. It's his best result of the season and his 2nd podium. Zane Maloney, fantastic performance from him to split the Crypto Tower racing drivers on the podium with Lucas Dunner. 2 podiums in as many races this weekend. Andrea Cessna holds off the pressure of Ido Cohen to finish 4th. Then it's Nicholas Cruton who has to hold off Ayrton Simmons once again to finish in 6th place. Cameron Daz is in 8th place. Behind that, Rui Andrade looks like he's going to hold on to 9th place with a hard-charging Glenn Van Berlo in the final stages of the race. Sebastian Esner, a disappointing end to a disappointing weekend to him. He finishes 11th. A couple of times, Alexandre Bardignon has been facing the wrong way in this race. He's 12th place. Al Habsi, after being taken out by Maldonado, is 13th. But Maldonado, didn't get going off the start, and also then had that incident with Al Habsi as well. Great race, and a thank you to Elliot Wood, who's now going to go down and catch the drivers to get all the reports written. But fantastic stuff from Euroformula Open this weekend. It's been a real pleasure to be commentating on this weekend, and let's confirm the result for you. Yiffy Yi takes the win by 1 second ahead of Zane Maloney. Lucas Dunner in 3rd. The top 3 split by just 2.5 seconds. Then it's Andrea Cessna, Ido Cohen, Nicholas Cruton, Ayrton Simmons, Cameron Daz, Rui Andrade, Glenn Van Berlo. They are the guys that take the points. They are your top 10, with Yiffy Yi taking the fastest lap at 154.281. That was your top 10 in race number 2 here at round 2 of Euroformula Open. And just outside the top 10, Sebastian Esner finishes 11th. Alexandre Bardignon is in 12th place. Shihab Al Habsi 13th. Emmanuel Maldonado in 14th. What does that do to the standings? Yiffy Yi leads by 36 points after just 2 rounds over Andreas Esner. Zane Maloney jumps back into 3rd. Lucas Dunner, after only 1 round of racing, is 4th. Ido Cohen drops to 5th. Ayrton Simmons climbs up to 6th. Then it's Sebastian Esner 7th. Maldonado 8th. Nicholas Cruton 9th. And Glenn Van Berlo is 10th. Well, there is Yiffy Yi. Fantastic win for him. A bounce back because I think he's got such high expectations for himself this season. He'll want to be winning. I mean, all drivers want to win, but he in particular will want to be winning every single race this year. And he was beaten to the line by Lucas Dunner yesterday. He won it quite convincingly, actually. And Yiffy Yi would have just been hoping to get some pace back, get himself back onto the top step of the podium before we take a very short break before going into the Red Bull ring in just 3 weeks' time. There is Lucas Dunner. It's not quite worked out for him today. A couple of mistakes for him, not quite the Lucas Dunner we saw yesterday, but nevertheless, first and a third on his first appearance in the championship this year. Not a bad effort, but as you can see, he not happy with the performance in himself that time. Didn't get a good start. That put him in a difficult situation, and coming back from that would always be difficult. But you know what? Not a bad. He's shown himself very well this weekend. He got that win that he's been chasing for a couple of years, and then got another podium with it. This is the number 20, your race winner, Yifi Yi, about to come into the slot, the first place slot there to the right-hand side of the screen. Zane Maloney off picture, climbing out of the car as well. He's second, but Yifi Yi jumps out of the car. 3 wins in 4 races for him in this season. He absolutely flying in Euroformula Open, and once again he is on the top step of the podium. Great stuff from Yifi Yi, and there Zane Maloney got a third at Hungary, and after not starting the race yesterday, this is a very, very good comeback. What a way to come back and get your best result of the season. Zane Maloney taking the win, but he, another driver, I think all 3 drivers in this on this podium, such high expectations for themselves. They all want to be winning all the time, but you know what, second place, the points you're going to get for that, not bad, and he's brought himself back into the running for the championship. So your podium finishers, Lucas Dunner finishes in 3rd place after starting on the front row. Not quite the performance we saw from him yesterday, but a very good weekend. Likewise for Zane Maloney, a weekend of 2 halves. Didn't start the race yesterday, but what about that for a recovery to come back and finish 2nd today? But the race winner once again in Euroformula Open. 3 wins for him so far this season. Yifi Yi extends his championship lead. Let's go and hear from him now.
It's Yifi Yi winning race 2 at Paul Ricard, recovering well from yesterday's race, which was good. It was 2nd place, but you are back to victory like in Hungary. You must be happy. What was the difference with yesterday?
I mean, yesterday the quality was very close between me and Lucas. Yeah, he managed to get the pole with 2,000 of a second. That was a bit unfortunate for me, but that's racing. In the race, he did a very good job. I couldn't really keep up with him, so yesterday was his day, I would say. And this morning, we managed to bounce back in the qualifying, and we could get the pole. The start was average, but I could keep the leadership. But yeah, once Zen managed to get past Lucas, he was really fast coming behind from me, and we have seen in the qualifying they were very strong. So yeah, I was really surprised by the pace they had, and I was having to push a lot to keep my car ahead of him. And yeah, I think luckily Paul Ricard is not like Spa, so with the 30 year he struggles to follow with my pace, so I could control my pace. So when he was coming close to me, I would increase my pace, and when he's falling back behind me, then I would also slow down a bit to save my tires. So at the end it was a long race, but I could manage the pace pretty well and bring home back the victory, so very happy about it.
Well done then. We'll certainly have more fights very soon in the Euroformula. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So race 2 got underway with Yifi Yi on pole position and Lucas Dunner alongside. Unfortunately, Emmanuel Mardonado from 5th on the grid would not get going straight away. A full start, dropping him to the back of the grid. As Zane Maloney challenged to go into 2nd place on Lucas Dunner. Top 3 after their incredible place in qualifying. We'd expect them to charge away. This was Shihab Al-Habsi. He made a brilliant start, making a move around the outside of turn 1, moving up to 10th place. Him and his DriveX teammates, Clem van Berlo, would be fighting away a little bit further back. This was the moment Alexandre Bardignon took out the number 12 of Clem van Berlo. Unfortunately, he would later receive a penalty for that, and it would go from bad to worse for DriveX, as the other car of Shihab Al-Habsi would be turned around by the recovering Emmanuel Maldonado, also picking up a penalty. But Yifi Yi would just about able to hold on out front. Zane Maloney threw everything he had at it, but in the end, 1 second to the good. Yifi Yi rounded the final corner to take his 3rd win of the 2020 season. Lucas Dunner had 1 or 2 trips over the painted lines there. Clem van Berlo was on his way back through the field, trying to recover as well. Nice move made through the chicane two moves we saw there, one from Zane Maloney as well, but this was the moment that Yifei came out of the final corner with Zane Maloney a second behind him, and he went on to take his third victory of the season. It's a personal best result of the season for Zane Maloney, and another podium for Lucas Dunner after his win yesterday. So let's get the podium started. Lucas Dunner in third place for the Crypto Tower Racing team. Second place, his best result so far this season after not finishing yesterday. Zane Maloney not on the right podium spot though. He's got to move one over, but he can be the team's winner if he wants to be. Yifei taking the overall win for the third time, and we will get a representative from the Crypto Tower Racing team onto the podium as well, and then we will have the national anthem of China. So a great result for Crypto Tower Racing team, 2 drivers on the podium. Well, he worked it out eventually, didn't he, Zane Maloney? We did eventually get someone from Crypto Tower Racing team on to the podium. But a brilliant weekend it's been. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching the Euroformula Open once again. This is the second round of the season. In just 3 weeks' time, we will go racing once again, this time at the Red Bull Ring. Hope to see you there. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Chris McCarthy. This has been the Euroformula Open. Thank you very much for your company. Do take care, and we will see you at the Red Bull Ring.
Congratulations.